What's your favorite thing about SOAS?
So consistently, my favorite thing about SOAS is always the students. SOAS attracts, in my opinion, the best students in the UK and from abroad as well. I think that, at least in gender studies, we've never had a bad cohort. Students are so critically engaged, so highly aware of the political stakes of knowledge production, really attuned to the relationship between knowledge production and social justice. And so I draw a lot of inspiration from them. I feel like I learn a lot from them. And in these moments when the world feels quite dark, it's the students that help me hold on to a little bit of hope through the classroom.
What makes your gender studies at SOAS different to other UK universities?
So what distinguishes gender studies at SOAS is that we focus on gender and sexuality in the global south, or the majority world. So really regions of the world that have been neglected by the Western Academy, but also heavily misrepresented in both popular culture and the mainstream news media. So we look at the stories of people that have been marginalized, basically, and try to theorize and learn gender and sexuality from the vantage point of the global south, or the majority world.
What's a book or film that blew your mind about gender or identity?
So there's one book that is always on my Gender in the Middle East syllabus, which is Afsaneh Najmabadi's Women with Mustaches, Men Without Beards. And it's a book about gender and sexual fluidity during the Qajar period in Iran, so the 18th and 19th century. And it really kind of highlights that a lot of these gendered and sexual norms that we think of as traditional Iranian norms are in fact products of modernity and can only be made sense of as a product of the colonial encounter, or the encounter with Europe. So it's a great book for rethinking how we understand gender and sexuality in the Middle East and how norms of gender and sexuality developed.
What's one story from queer activism in Lebanon that still inspires you?
So what I find amazing about queer activists in Lebanon is the way in which they've refused attempts to weaponize queer phobia in the country and the wider region in the service of imperialist discourse or interventions. And so they always refuse what they frame as liberation at the barrel of a gun, through war, for example, or through financial pressure, through sanctions. And they insist on the interconnectedness between queer liberation and the fight against imperialism. That's something that applies not just to Lebanon, but to Palestine as well. And I think it's very inspiring and worth learning from.
Do you have a favorite quote?
Yeah, so I do have a favorite quote. It's by the late Lebanese Marxist intellectual Mahdi Amel. I am going to read it because it's a bit of a mouthful, but I think it's quite beautiful and relevant today. How can the revolution be unsoiled when it is born of the present and soiled by it, before demolishing that present and washing itself with the promise that the human is beautiful and free?
Thank you so much, Professor. This was really enlightening, and I'm sure we have a lot to take away from this interview. Thank you.
Thank you.